The middle school credit system is a section of code that we get many questions on, particularly because it is pretty vague in an IDAPA rule. Now, it was set up this way in order to give school districts a lot of local control over how they set up their middle school credit system. If you want to find the specific language, you can follow the QR code. It's an IDAPA 080203-107, and when you get to that PDF, it's going to be on page 16 of that document. Now, the middle school credit system has 6 different components. So at minimum, your school district needs to have policies for the following. What will be the required credits? Excuse me, not 6, 5 different components. So what are the required credits? What will be the credit recovery system in place? What is an alternate mechanism for promoting a student in the middle school grades? Attendance needs to be a component in your district's policy, and there needs to be allowances and liberties for the EL population and the special education population of your school district. Now, here are a few things to keep in mind about the credit requirements. So there are kind of 2 branches that affect the credit requirements. So in your policy, students first of all need to earn 80% of the total credits attempted. So that's the first element of it. Now the second element is related to instructional length of time. So in your school district you have full year courses and you have half-year courses, or possibly courses that are just 1 trimester. So for full-year courses, the student needs to earn at least a portion of the credits. So for example, a math class is typically the entire year. That means a student is not allowed to fail both semesters of math. They need to have passed at least 1. Now for the partial year courses, there is no minimum requirement. So with these 2 branches, the student needs to earn 80% of the total, and in each of the full year classes, they need to earn at least a portion of those credits. So when we look at grades for students, so we look at these different, so we have student 1, student 2, and student 3, and we can see that if D's are considered passing, that this student here has 1, 2 F's. So out of 14 credits, they've passed at least 80%. And you see that they haven't failed any of their core classes both semesters. So student 1 would actually be able to be promoted. Student 2, very similar story, even though the grades aren't wonderful, they did earn credit in a portion of the classes, in all of the year-long classes, and they only have 2 F's. Now for student 3, and this is surprising to a lot of people because the grades look better than student 1 or 2, but what we find here is there are 3 F's for this student, which means they're below the 80% mark. They did pass the year-long courses at least a portion of the time, but they didn't meet the 80% mark. So we would need to put this student in whatever system of credit recovery is in place. So student 3 would not be able to be promoted without some credit recovery in place. So that is the middle school credit system in a nutshell as far as the minimum requirements by the state. Your school district can certainly elaborate and make this your own. As far as state guidance is, again, this section of code is written sufficiently vague in order to give a lot of local control around how you put together your middle school credit system.